Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
This is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people, and people misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E?
I object.
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
What more do you need to see?
Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm the Recovery Addict, and I'm early. I told you we would be. We have we have something we have to watch before court starts back up. So it's exciting. Watching everything that's happening today with Karen Reed, with Lori Vallow. We've obviously got this case out of New Hampshire with the snow plowing gone bad. And then we've got some small courts with people showing up just doing things that people shouldn't do, and that's where we're going to go first. Angelique, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Thank you. Roro is dancing to the music. I'm dancing in my soul. All right. Do you think the defendant will testify? Oh, this is a great question. He might have to. Because how else do you get this into the jury? Which there is not a lot in this case that's important for the jury to hear that will help the defense. There's not a lot that the jury can hear that will help the defense. And the small bit that might has sort of been successfully excluded by the state. And it can only come in if he testifies. So it's a possibility. It might happen here. We're going to go to a court. Let's see. We're going to be in camera 6, wherever that one is. Let's see where we at. There we are. We're in this one right here. Give us a minute. We'll get this up and going. Judge Dad had a hearing today.
Is Ms. Johnson here?
Ms. Johnson. There she is.
Yeah, there you are. Ma'am, you have to unmute and state your name, and then Trooper, state your name, please.
Trooper Weston Williams.
I'll be down here then.
Crystal Johnson.
Choose your spot and I'll
All
stand.
right. Any offer here, Trooper?
Is this for Mr. Ali?
No, it's for Crystal Johnson. This is a violation of basic speed law. So she slowed off the roadway into the woods due to a snowy, wet condition.
Yeah, I'd offer impeding traffic.
Okay.
Do you want to plead to impeding traffic, ma'am?
No, sir, I do not.
Pause. I can't pause this. Why can I not pause?
Okay, so
All I can do is stop. Let me explain what just happened here. Crystal, I made a mistake. Crystal, in the bottom right-hand corner, was driving and slid off the road in snow. Now, like it or lump it, the state that this happens in has a law on the books written by the legislature that says if you slide off the road during rain or snow, then you were driving too fast. It's an if-then statement. If this happens, then this is true. Then you were driving too fast, and you will be cited for driving too fast for conditions. Being off the road, having your vehicle off the road in the snow, is prima facie evidence that you were driving too fast for the conditions. She was cited by the officer for driving too fast for the conditions after she had a one-vehicle accident. And the officer just there offered to give her impeding traffic, which is a lesser offense with no points on your license and presumably a lower fine. She's just turned that down. So we're gonna go back and see how this goes.
I want to just have you listen to me a second here, and then we can go from there, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me whether you take impeding traffic or not. We have a hearing that can take place right now by Zoom. Violation of basic speed law requires you to keep your vehicle under control at all times, no matter the road conditions. So if, as an example, I determined that you were traveling and you drove off into the off the roadway, that would be a violation of the basic speed law. I'm not trying to talk you out of having the hearing, but if we have the hearing and you lose, you're going to get the points. So but I'm not under any circumstance trying to talk you out of having a hearing.
I understand.
This just happened today.
So do you want to have the hearing still, or do you want to plead to impeding?
I want to have the hearing.
Raise your right hands. Trooper, I need to see your hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you'll give in these proceedings will be the whole truth, so help you God? Trooper?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, you can proceed, Trooper.
I'm on a crash right now, sir. Do you mind giving me 1 second here? My partner.
No, take your time.
Loose real quick.
Sorry.
Pardon?
Sorry, I'm working my day
My
job.
partner's going to kick these occupants loose, and just give me 1 second here. I apologize.
He's literally not kicking them out of the car, but we're going to fast forward just a little bit, if I can.
Do you have any questions about what I said, Ms. Johnson, before we begin?
I do not.
Okay.
Let's fast forward.
Marissa J.
Fast forward
Sedlar.
again.
It was snowy conditions that day, and I wrote her a citation for a violation of basic speed law.
There we go.
1039.
I shouldn't allow me to use these
The officer
buttons.
failed to appear. I gave him 15 minutes. Case dismissed.
Okay, so that was the previous one. Officer didn't show up. Case dismissed. Now we're back.
Okay, you're all set. Have a good day. Be careful out
Traffic
there.
accidents.
Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. All right, recalling Crystal Ann Johnson, 25M491844. Trooper, your name again?
Trooper Weston Williams.
Crystal
Ms.
just has
Johnson,
that
your name
smug
again?
look.
Crystal Johnson.
I've had you both sworn in. Trooper, you can go ahead and proceed.
Yes, sir. On 2/15/2025 at approximately 10:39 in the morning, I was dispatched to a crash. It was a one-vehicle crash. The driver slid off in the right ditch. It was snowy conditions that day, and I wrote her a citation for a violation of basic speed law.
And that was Ms.
South
Johnson?
75. Yes, sir. That was South 75 near Gibraltar.
Sibley.
Okay.
Or Sibley. Sorry about that.
Oh, she's so
Okay.
smug.
Any questions of him, Ms. Johnson?
I have no questions, sir.
Do you wish to testify?
I do. I actually wish I could be in court right now, but obviously Trooper Williams isn't there, so it wouldn't matter. He arrived an hour after the situation, so I would like to state that. Therefore, he had no idea what the conditions were of the roads. I would like to state that I drove 34 miles without incident before sliding off the road. So clearly I was not driving erratically if I made it 34 miles in a snowstorm. I printed out pictures of what the conditions were. You can see his vehicle right there.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Before we go on, I'm gonna listen to you.
Okay.
I'm not gonna be a legislator here, though. I didn't write this law, and it says what it says. And
Understood,
that
sir.
is clearly a violation of the basic speed law. I'm trying to help you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm not trying to be mean or any other such thing. This was a technical violation of the basic speed law. I cannot do anything but find you responsible. If you want to take the impeding, you're going to save yourself 2 points. Now,
Sir?
I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to debate it with you. I'm just trying to tell you again nicely, and then you can tell me, Judge, I want to proceed, or Judge, I want to take the plea, and I'll shut up and listen.
Okay, Judge, I am wanting to proceed.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank
Your
you.
funeral. Go ahead.
And the reason I am proceeding is because there was no speed violation whatsoever, as I made it 34 miles without any issue or incident. The officer you're not listening, so this is great. You're as great as the trooper is. And I would like it on. No, I want this on record that this is what the problem is, and this is why I did not want to take the impeding traffic. The officer mocked me. The officer made sure to belittle me.
We've got some woes.
And I refuse to allow that kind of treatment.
Okay.
So that is where
anything else?
That would be it, sir.
I want to make sure that you've had full opportunity to tell me everything.
No, I haven't, because you have made it clear that you do not care to listen either. And it is okay. I have gone through the chain of commands that I need to, and I will continue.
I could tell you had a chip on your shoulder from the get-go. You know that?
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying to help you here, and you want to make you want me to make my own laws, and that I can't do. I just asked. Hang on. I asked to see your record. That's all I said. Do not accuse me of not listening. I heard every single word you said. If there's anything else you want to say, go ahead and say it. I'm all ears. I'll listen to whatever else.
Okay, I'm going to speak now then. Is that okay?
No, it's not right now. Trooper, did you mock her in any way?
No, sir. So she filed a complaint against me to my post commander. He sent the video up to our internal affairs who investigates complaints, and they didn't find anything wrong with the interaction we had. The only thing that was wrong, I wasn't wearing my hat.
You were wearing your hat, sir.
That's what I told them, but I wasn't wearing it for the whole time. So that's what they talked to me about. I didn't get in trouble for anything else of how we interacted with each other. So,
all right, go ahead, Miss Johnson.
So when he asked me if I was speeding, I told him I was not, and he gestured to the people driving down the road and said, well, none of these people are flying off the road. To me, that is mocking me. I had been through something traumatic, and for him to say something like that and compare me to people is absolutely sad and not okay. Period. And it went downhill from there. It's not that I have a chip on my shoulder. I showed him the utmost respect. I tried very hard to be very kind until that moment. Then I told him I did not want to speak to him anymore. And he continued to follow me. And I don't feel as though that kind of treatment, basically victim shaming people, is the way to handle yourself as an officer. I went home and had a conversation with my 21 and 16-year-old to let them know, do not call the police if you are ever in trouble. They do not care.
Gosh.
It was awful. It was a bad situation. It's not a chip on my shoulder. It's me being hurt.
All right. Listen. Okay. Anything else?
That's it. Just that it was a snowy
I want you to
condition.
understand. I would never condone anybody talking to anybody in a demeaning fashion.
Well, okay? It was.
Well, but that doesn't entitle you to a dismissal of the case. I tried to tell you nicely. Mm-hmm. I tried to tell you 2 or 3. I mean, I don't have any choice but to find you responsible as charged.
That's fine.
I really wish you would have taken the impeding. I really do.
That's fine.
135 is your total. Can you pay that today, or do you need time?
I can pay that today.
Okay, you can go online on 33court.com.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, ma'am. I wish you well. Thank you.
Yeah.
The judge bites his tongue. Oh, man. Yeah, that did not work well for her. It did not go quite as I think she was hoping it would have gone. But Josh, thank you very much for finding that one. Was that the same lady? Was that the lawyer lady who wanted to go ahead and have the hearing? Or was this just the same law rearing its ugly head once again in the same court? Because if it's the same lady, last time she was in tears the whole time. Yes, it was the same one. Now, there are some of you in here is like, that makes me so mad because that is a bad law. It may be a bad law. The law basically says if you slide off the road, you were doing something wrong. There's no such thing as an accident. If you slid off the road, you should have been going slower. Well, I didn't know. I was already going under the speed limit. Doesn't matter. You slid off the road, you were breaking the law. That's what the law says. If you don't like it, talk to your legislatures, get them to change the law. But that's what the law is. And no matter how she was treated, it's not going to change that. So she was, I think, in the wrong. Now, we are about to go back to court here. We've got just a couple moments here before court resumes. So we're going to get all set with that. I wanted to get this that little video in as a palate cleanser as we return back to one of the noisiest courts we've watched in a long time. But judge tried, and the judge was patient. There are so many times he could have cracked down. He could have said, no, now is not your time to talk, right? Let's see if I can trigger that one. I can do it. Let me see. Let me try. He could have said this. Let's see if this works. Why does it not work for me?
It's not your turn to talk. I'll tell you when you can talk.
He could have said that. But no, her attitude made me mad, not the law, says Birdie B. What do we count in this trial? We have, this is my idea of a play on words. So we are counting the cursive counter. So let me explain the cursive counter. We're up to 31. We did have it labeled as F-bomb counter, but that didn't look really professional in the corner with F-bomb written there. So we changed it to cursive counter. It should be curse counter, but cursive is flowery writing and cursing is flowery language. So I say cursive counter for counting flowery language. Does that work? So that's that number happens to be the number of times the bomb has been dropped in this court. That's my reasoning. I get quite a few, not a few. I get a lot of comments on the burner phone and on the videos on YouTube after the fact from people watching on a replay, telling me that my cursive counter is about handwriting and it should be corrected because it has nothing to do with swearing. But that's my rationale as to why I use it. So apparently I triggered a lot of people about that. Yeah, it's 38 beeps, 31 beeps. Okay, we have just a couple minutes. It is 1:11. I think we're going to come back at 1:15, I think is what the judge said. So we've got just a moment before that starts. Let me see if there's anything else we needed to go to. Lori Vallow just reiterated that she does not want to waive her speedy trial. She is still looking for a trial at the end of this month, even though she just barely got an expert hired onto the case who has no time to do anything and has only been allotted 10 hours to work on the job. So that's going to be a fun one. We've also got the Karen Reed stuff that happened this morning. No big surprises there. It's same old, same old. Let's see. Anything else? I think that's it. Judge O'Donnell's live right now, too. Minecraft court's happening. We can peek in on that for just a minute while we wait.
Thank you, Ms. Ronick.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I stated, the state and defense had come to a plea agreement in which the state agreed to recommend 10 years jointly with the defendant. I will note that in the pre-sentence report, the defendant does still claim that he is not guilty of the corrupting another with drugs that led to the death of the victim in this case, despite the evidence that was found in the car tying him directly to that drug deal. But the state is in agreement with defense, asking for some formulation of 7 + 3 for a total of 10 years in prison. Thank you.
10 years for corrupting another with drugs, and it caused their death. He was the dealer? He was a provider of some sort?
Okay, I reviewed the pre-sentence report. I've listened to what Mr. Greer has said, what counsel has said. I've considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. And I'm going to adopt the joint recommendation on count 1. I'll impose a term of 3 years. On count 2, I'll impose a definite minimum term of 6 years up to an indefinite maximum. Definite minimum of 4 years up to an indefinite maximum of 6 years. And on count
it's 9.
4, I'll impose a term of 36 months.
That puts you just over 10.
And on count 6, a term of 12 months. Counts 1,
it's 12 years, if they're
2, and
concurrent.
4 will be consecutive to one another. Count 6 will be concurrent to the other
6.
counts. And consecutive sentences, of course, we have an agreed 10-year sentence, but consecutive sentences are necessary to protect the public from future crime by the defendant and for appropriate punishment. They're not disproportionate to the seriousness of your crime. Your crimes and your history of criminal conduct demonstrates that consecutive sentences are necessary to protect the public from future crime. I'll impose the minimum fines on each of the counts where there are mandatories, and they will be waived pursuant to the affidavit of indigency.
This
When
is
you get
sentencing
out,
after the jury
you'll
already
be
found him
on,
guilty.
Post-release controls at 5 years, Sarah? On the one, on the F1?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Parole after 5.
I concur, Your Honor.
All right, 5 years, they'll place conditions on you. If you violate the conditions, the parole authority could return you to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. If the violation's a new felony, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation, the maximum of which is the greater of 12 months or the time left under post-release control. The costs are assessed.
This judge has such a
There's
soft
credit for-
voice.
What do you have, Jennifer? You have 100,
I have 178 days.
and then Mr. Schlackett, you had said 189?
I did.
Sarah,
I
do you-
took the date of the report and added 11 days because that was written on the 7th.
Well, she ran it up to, you ran it up through
Today's date.
today on the sentencing date, so it's 178 days of credit. Anything else, Ms. Haranik?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Schlackett, anything
No,
else?
thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we're adjourned.
Yeah, defendant's not wearing a gold bracelet. He's wearing a paper ID tag, like a wristband, and shackles and belly chains. All right, we're going to be coming back here to this trial here in just a moment. So that was just a little filler for a second. We're a couple minutes late, actually, so we'll see what happens. That wasn't our 2-for-1 guy. That was just a random trial we popped in on. We're going to see, we might play catch up on Nicole Rice once this one stops, once we're done with this one. Nicole Rice is just starting, I believe, this afternoon. I zoomed in on his wrist in HD, in high definition on the big screen. It looks like it's like when a hospital ID tag, when they put those little plastic paper things around your wrist. It was one of them. We are just waiting for the jury to come back, and the judge, of course. That would be nice. Can't start without the judge. Let's go here for just a second and make sure we're up to the second, which we are. How's everyone's lunch, by the way? Did everyone get enough to eat? I just had yogurt. Vanilla yogurt. So just a snack for me. Of course, I had a couple of those Slim Jims because they were talking about those earlier in the trial. So I had to eat a few of them. Had breakfast for lunch, says Joni. Sherry just finished a sandwich. Whataburger salad, says Brooke. I'm a hobbit, says Camilla. I have 2 breakfasts when I watch Recovery Addict. Troy says I'm boring. Not even a fun yogurt. I was going to add some. Had I remembered, I would have gone and found where I hid the pecans and had some pecans too, because I think I want to try pecans in oatmeal for breakfast, because I think that would be delicious. I'm not sure if I'd try pecans in yogurt. Maybe. Might give it a go. Dry cereal. That's good. Needs more milk. Veggie puffs and a bite of my son's grilled cheese, says Angelique. Lunch was amazing, says Kelly. Little mom shop grill next door. Mom and pop shop. Mom and pop grill next door. I don't know, but a small, probably family-owned business next door. Bacon grilled cheese is life. Popcorn and Diet Coke, says Christy. There we go. We're coming back. Avocado bacon sandwich, hot dog and chips. Does coffee count as a lunch food? Popcorn or apples and peanut butter. Apples and peanut butter is a great snack. Pecans and yogurt's amazing. It's good to know. I'm gonna run and get the pecans, and Josh, I'm probably gonna eat the rest of them tonight, or like today while we're live. Fried bologna on fried egg sandwich, says June. Peter Ware, let's see if I can pronounce this one right. I walked to the Chabari. Is it Chabari? Picked up turkey avocado Swiss. Going to grill. Bacon grilled cheese sounds good. Toasted pecans on salads. Mac and cheese with tuna. Hot sausage roll from the garage. Now Selena's like, now I'm hungry again. This sounds delicious. Leftover meatloaf and salad. Honey on your yogurt. I've never done honey on yogurt. It's vanilla yogurt, if that matters. Crab cakes. Tomato soup. Now, combine the tomato soup with grilled cheese. That's like it's a full course meal right there. Who needs a roll call when you have lunch call? We always talk food at some point. We do. It's good. It's probably a sign that I'm still hungry, is why I'm talking about food. I say as I'm waiting. I got my bike. I got my tires fixed. I pulled the old tires out, and I found a whole bunch of thorns through the tires. So I've removed all those thorns. Now I've got new tubes in, and I've also ordered some slime to put in the tires that will seal it in case there's something I missed. And the slime arrives as well as the tiny little adapter I need to convert a Presta valve to a Schrader valve. A Schrader valve is like the typical car tire spout. My bike has the little tiny tall metal ones, and so I don't have something to pump that up. So those arrived today, so I'll be able to ride my bike tonight. How's the lawnmower? I haven't even looked at it. It's been months. The battery's dead. I have not bothered to try to jump it. Mix in protein granola. I do like granola and yogurt. That's tasty. I prefer like a honey oat granola to a almond granola. I don't normally like almonds. Almonds are not tasty for me. All right. Thanks for coming to my little TED Talk about lunch, though. Appreciate that. If you're putting chats on screen, we can't see them, says Just Girl Bacon. I was. Let's start with this one. Angelique, congratulations. You were first in chat this afternoon. The internet is all yours. Thank you, boo. Keep it all running for the rest of it. Consider this. Everyone who had any comments about lunch, I put it up on the screen. I linked all of them. Sandwich, Whataburger, breakfast for lunch, yogurt, the boring one from Troy, veggie puffs, popcorn, apples and peanut butter, the hot dog and chips, pecans and yogurt, avocado bacon. I put all of you up on the screen. And thanks for letting me know now that I missed it. So, sorry about that. You're here now. You're here now. Have you had dark chocolate covered almonds? Not a huge fan of dark chocolate. I realize it's healthier for you, which is probably why I'm not a big fan of it. I do like it, not on its own. So dark chocolate covered almonds would probably be good, whereas just dark chocolate would not. Amber, did my wife pay you to ask this question? It's coming along terribly slowly because I can only work on it during the weekends, and starting Friday night, I'll be Friday night doing a gig, all day Saturday doing a gig, and Sunday doing a gig, and then back here on Monday. So the bathroom is not making any progress. Anything juicy happened or just a million breaks? We're still on the big lunch break for some reason. I'm not sure why it's taking this long. We've now been gone for about an hour and a half for lunch. Greeners, I explained this to Mrs. R.A. She's like, we'd like to be done by March. And I said, well, I'd like to be the King of France and wear a shiny hat, but it's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. Clothes are in the dryer, yes. Jennifer, how much do you charge? I'm asking for a friend. Do we think he'll testify? Valerie, I think there's a chance because there's no other way for that little bit of evidence that they'd like to have the jury hear to come in. It's got to be there. They've got to have just a wee bit, Just feeling cramped in my corner here. March of which year? That's the question. Look at Toto bidet toilets. Heated seats, lid opens, closes by motion. Okay. This better be something that's good. Toto bidet. Do you have to buy like the whole toilet? I thought the bidet was like an add-on on the top. Like you bought the toilet and then you added the bidet on the top. Oh, they have both. They really like their bidets. You can spend $5,000 on a toilet. It's a smart toilet, but it's a lot of money on a toilet. Just the seat and the bidet, $2,000. Cha-ching! I mean, when you're replacing a 30-cent roll of toilet paper with a bidet, it's hard to. Wow. Could buy a lot of toilet paper. That's what I'm saying. Can't wait for what gets sent to the P.O. box now after saying you want to be the King of France and wear a shiny hat. Just remember you did it to yourself. Josh says I have to answer the question that he asked. Do you like milk chocolate or white chocolate or honey roasted? Yes. I like white chocolate more than Mrs. R.A. We both like milk chocolate, and I like honey roasted. Buc-ee's has the best candy and nuts. Buc-ee's has everything. 30 cents adds up. Let's do the math. Oh, I don't have my phone, which is my usual calculator. Let's see, calculator. $2,000 divided by 30 cents equals 6,666 rolls. Let's say that we use, in a family of 7, I think we use, this may be way too much information, 24 rolls of toilet paper every month. So divide that by 24. That's 277 months. We divide that by 12. Something big is driving down my house, in front of my house. Street cleaner. That's 23 years worth of toilet paper at our current consumption rate. Only 24 rolls. Yeah. It's boys. That's 27 years worth of toilet paper. Is it 30 cents a roll? How much is toilet paper? I don't know. Mrs. R.A. buys it. You have to open what I just bought you live on stream. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Still waiting for court to start. Okay, $24.98 at Sam's Club. It's been a long time since I've like thought about how much toilet paper costs. It just, when I married my wife, she takes care of it with the regular shopping, and I've never had to think about, oh, I need to buy toilet paper. We usually go to Sam's Club as well. So $24.98. So that's like $1 a roll then, right? Because aren't they like a 24 pack? Mr. McGuire says, I want a wife that buys toilet paper for me. I carry the toilet paper. I carry the milk. And I usually do 3 gallons in each hand. Although I have done 4, which hurts like the dickens. 4 gallons is hard. Because of the stretch it does for your fingers to get a finger in each one. You end up holding a gallon on your pinky finger, and it's barely held on there. They weigh about 7 pounds each, so you're holding about 30 pounds worth of milk in each hand. That's my workout. I do it once every week. Here we go. 24 pack on sale for $19.79. I have to rework the numbers then, figure out the effectiveness of a bidet, cost effectiveness. So 2,000. Now we divide it. Well, now we're $1 each. So now we're spending $1 a day, $1 per roll. We use 24 a month. That's only 83 months. Divide that by 12. This changes everything. And now it's like 7 years. It's 7 years of toilet paper for a bidet. 10 years of payoff, says Northwest. 30 cent must be like single ply. 4 gallons, that's a whole lot of milk. Well, there's 4 gallons in each hand, so 8 gallons total, what we buy. Unless we get chocolate milk, and then we always buy that as an extra, so we'll do 8 to 10 gallons of milk a week. $32 XL for $23. A week. Yes, a week. And then we run out on Thursday and buy it again on Friday. So we could probably go a little more, but you can't fit more than 10 gallons of milk in a fridge. Do you have a fridge just for milk? No, but we have an entire shelf dedicated to milk. Need to buy a cow. Then I need to buy somebody who milks the cow. You can get a deep freezer and freeze milk. The problem is when you freeze milk, the water content in the milk freezes first, and the cream freezes second. And so it never really comes back together right when you thaw it out. Here we go.
All right, so you're just reviewing it to make sure it's, or is it still recording it? Oh, I see. All right, I'm just getting concerned. All right, we'll just, hopefully it won't be too much longer. Okay, that's okay. Very good.
Is he playing it? They're reviewing the. Hello, cameraman. I feel close to you. Very close to you. when you forget you're on live TV. This happens. Now I'm turning the other way. There's the other eye. Huh, it's still you. Still here. We're going to clean the lens. Maybe give us a good lick. Maybe lick the lens and wipe it off. What do you think? We're turned sideways because now... Oh, yes. Yes. This is what we needed all along. Looks great. Yep. Good old on the lens will fix everything. And that microfiber cloth, put the lens cap back on, screw that on, lock it in place. Looks good. Looks good. Who hasn't? Who hasn't, you know, either licked the thumb or done the little on the lens and, you know, polished with the corner of your shirt? Who amongst us has not? I'm not throwing stones, I can tell you that much. I feel the need to wipe my glasses. Yeah, I'm now looking at all my monitors like, yep, I thought the smudge was on his camera. Apparently it's on my screen. Because we now know the camera is clean. He cleaned our eyes. Oh, that's good. I feel violated. New intro B-roll. Oh, man. Good stuff. I want to go back and watch that. Is that bad of me? We're going to go back and do that one more time. He looks deep. He's looking into my soul. Is what he's doing. He's not looking at me. He's looking through me. Last time I saw somebody that close, he was my dentist. Here's the good one. Here's the good one. Yep, here it comes. Here it comes. You know he's thinking about it. Takes the cover off. Get a big breath. Step up and deliver on the humidity immediately. It floods the lens. Look how clean it becomes. Just crystal clear. I can see every... And being careful not to touch the lens with his actual finger, and only using the microfiber cloth. A true professional there. That's so good. Love it. I love it. And of course, somebody in his headphones says, "We're live. You're live. The camera's hot. Camera's hot." It's like, but it's dirty. What do you want me to do? Got to take care of your equipment. All right, we'll be back here in just a minute. So that was epic. Oh, the light's on. The light's on. What we saw there is we saw that he was using what's called a pan tilt zoom camera. Let me grab one real quick. Let me show you. All right, it's show and tell time. So a pan tilt zoom camera is becoming really popular for court, and there's some really cool features that make them really good for court. Let me show you. Here's one right here. So let's go here so you can see it. This particular one is by one of my favorite companies, which is PTZ Optics. The camera is like this. The operator that controls this panel controls it digitally and remotely. It connects through the back on the back here with power or Ethernet. This particular one can use a single Ethernet cable, and it does everything. The video goes through it, everything. But the camera is motorized, and it can turn almost in a full circle. That's as far as it can go. And it can pan up, straight up, and it can pan almost, down to where it runs into its own base. The lens, of course, which I keep under this protective cover, has the ability to screw on a lens cap to protect it. You don't want that lens to have fingerprints or anything like that, dust on it, because it ruins the image. So that's what he was cleaning, and he turned the camera around to face himself to get him to do it. So, good times. The reason why these cameras are so good in courtrooms is you can set them up and say, okay, I want it to be right here to look at the defense table, and right here to look at the prosecutor's table, but I want you to never be able to go up right there because that's where the jury is. And you can like block out digitally. You can set a limit so the camera just won't pan over to the jury. You can go around it, but it will never actually go over and look at the jury box, which is a cool feature if you accidentally bump the lever or something. I only need 2 more of these and 1 more box camera, then I'll be set. I'm going to be using 2 of these this weekend for one of my gigs. They're good fun. They're about $1,200 to $1,600 each for these cameras. They're not cheap, but when it comes to camera equipment, it's actually fairly inexpensive. Because other stuff is ridiculously. Some of the ones that like Court TV uses in the courtroom can be $10,000 a piece for cameras like this. I also need a carrying case for this, so I went online to look for a good carrier, like one of those hard pack cases with foam that. You put the camera in and it just protects it from everything. $800 for the case to protect the camera. That's a bit spendy. I don't need it that bad. Of course, now I can't get it to sit back in the way it's supposed to go. There we go. So was there no light? The light can be turned on and off. Most of these courts require you to have the light off. But they call it a tally light. The other camera, the one I have back up here, has a tally light as well, which is it's useful for when you have a multi-camera setup where you have talent on screen, they're talking, and then you switch to a different camera. That's to let them know they should look at the one with the light on. That's what the purpose is. Yeah, Apache makes them. Pelican makes some good cases. There's actually a company out there that will laser cut foam for you. You just tell it how you want it cut. And I'm trying to get I've got 3D printings. I've got like the CAD drawings for that camera I just showed you. I've got the manufacturer's CAD drawings for how it's designed, exact measurements. Now I'm trying to get it to the company that laser cuts foam, because I'm pretty sure I can custom make one for cheaper than they want to sell it to me. Pre-made. Can't they make those cameras with the 3D printer? This has to be a good one. The lenses are just incredible. That particular one has a 30 power multiplier as far as the zoom. So I can be at the very back of a conference room and zoom all the way in and just have somebody's face, just frame their face in the picture. Just really powerful, and it's crystal clear. Cheryl. It doesn't take much to get me to start talking tech. Plus 600 cables. Northwest, that's the benefit of NDI. That's the technology on the camera. But NDI is a network protocol that allows me to control and transfer the image and audio back and forth 2 ways. And it all goes through a Cat 5, like an internet, Cat 5, Cat 6 internet cable, as well as power. So it's powered through one cable, the video goes through the cable, and I can control the camera through the cable. So there's just one plug to plug in, and I'm set, and I can control it from anywhere anywhere on the network, or even around the world. I still do have the 600 cables. Yep. Doesn't personally need 5 cats. Category 5, category 6, but yes. Okay, so it looks like the defense watched the entire video during that break. Watched the interrogation. And defense has their assistant there. And the screen is set up. It looks like they'll get to play some or all of it. I wonder if the judge made a ruling while we're away. It's their turn for cross, and the screen is set up for the jury. Wow. They might have had a win. A rare win. Welcome to my TED Tech Talk. Yes. A jury view. Well, the jury gets to view it. They already have the jury view at the beginning. Northwest, did you see LNC accidentally play?
Very good. Let's bring the jury out, please.
Did you see LNC accidentally play a commercial for How Ridiculous in the middle of Lori Vallow's hearing? Oops. How Ridiculous is a YouTube channel that throws stuff off of tall buildings. There's the judge's sigh. You heard that?
Yes.
Teresa, congratulations on 22 months. You're an OG. Thank you. Rare win. Say it 8 times. Judge sighs again. Another big breath. And a third one. And then he mutes the mic. Who's looking out the window? That's the bailiff. I think he has a tea time scheduled this afternoon. He's been watching the weather really closely today. The update on Lori Vallow is that she wants a lot of things done but doesn't want to waive her speedy trial. She wants to go ahead with the quick trial but does not have time to get everything done she wants done.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to continue with the continuation of the cross-examination of this witness. Counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and thank you guys for being patient. Detective, let me just give a little introduction of what we're going to be doing here. We're going to play some of the video that was captured on your cam that evening, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
And it starts at 10:17:09 p.m. and it's dated the 4th of April, and the location is 41/43 Summer Street. That's what we got going, and you're aware of what we're about to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me give a little introduction here. It's going to take about 25 minutes total recording. Some of it is dead time. You'll see some transports, And Detective, some of it will be a muted body cam. Can you tell the jury why that happens? I mean, we're not trying to sneak around here. Just want to make sure.
Sure. Sometimes we'll mute a body cam when we're by our personal spaces. People have family photos. There's other case information that necessarily we don't want getting out.
But can you tell us generally what we're about to see? We're going to see a bit of the transport and the initial process. And can you explain to the jury where we're going to go, what we're going to be in, and so?
Sure. So as we kind of previously had talked about, this is going to show my initial response, showing up on the scene, and the actual transport of Jason back to the police station and then transporting him up on the elevator to get back upstairs.
Okay. And can we assure the jury that they're going to be able to see some questioning, but they'll be able to see the condition that Jason was in on that evening when the questioning began?
You'll be able to see Jason before he was interviewed, yes.
Thank you. If we could start that up. And I'm not going to say a word during this. Afterwards, I may have some questions.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Step down.
Yes, sir.
Let's see if we're able to see some of this.
Just so the record is clear, this is a full exhibit, correct?
That is correct.
So it's not the questioning, it's what happened before then. Waiting for the audio to kick in. Looks like we're outside a police car.
That's behind the line goes down.
Just know you're responsible for being the other voice. So I'm just getting here. I don't know what's going on. So just you're just being detained at this point.
That's in front of Jason's house right now. Camera's muted. Officer looks to be going around getting in the driver's side. He's sitting in his driver's seat at his computer. He's straps in with a seatbelt.
Sorry, I can't hear. Oh, no worries. That's what we're get paid to do. So we're gonna just head back to the station. We'll kind of talk there just because it's kind of not the best environment with people yelling and stuff like that. And we'll kind of talk over there. Get out the weather too, stay dry. 6 vehicles.
This is a call to dispatch to let him know he's transporting one male to the station. Dispatch responds. Copy. It's a turn signal. That was a radio call to another officer. Couldn't tell what he was saying there. Just asked over the radio for them to open the garage door for the Sally port. So the garage door is opening in front of the car. And he pulls in underneath it. Puts the car in park. Says this is where the Uber stops. Everybody get out. He's in that Sally port right now. Locks his firearm in the secure case. Because he's going into a jail area. Doesn't want to have a firearm taken and used against him. Grab some evidence that he needed. Now getting Jason out of the car.
No, you're fine. Any injuries, anything you need EMS to check out? Anything that changes, not good or anything like that?
I could tell you what the code is, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough before I was a cop. I did construction and I need some guys that knock the ground on the shoulder with the fire trucks. Yeah. So we'll head. Yeah, I'll get you a couple orders.
They're in booking right now. They've gone to the elevator. He's pushed the call button for the elevator. Pushes it again. Try a third time. Usually that makes it go faster.
Water or coffee?
Water or coffee? No?
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'm all day too. You want any food or anything? Okay, yeah, I can make sure that happens.
Do you want any food? Yeah. He says I can make sure that happens. Now he's going to be scouting around looking for a Slim Jim.
Just let me know when you get upstairs and there's chairs and table. Okay. I just thought if you're not, just want you to know about something. Okay.
Elevator's going up.
What's up? Sorry, a little dizzy. Okay. How much I can do on the elevator? As soon as we go upstairs, there'll be chairs and tables. How much I sit down. And if you feel like you're wanting us to check it out, something like that, more than welcome to ask me, and I will make sure to mess up those.
Maybe that's the interrogation room. It just sounds like a buzzsaw is going over his head.
Do you have any medical conditions or anything? No. Are you walking for a second? Just get to the chair.
We're going out of the elevator here. Jason's being assisted to the room. There's the chair.
It's fine. Relax the nerves a little bit. So this room is also video audio. I have to see you for 1 second. I'll give you a cup of water here. I just want to make sure this is on. Let me come down here. Do you mind actually, you go downstairs, there's a kitchen. Just go right downstairs. There's a kitchen and then cabinet top there should be a house, a bigger house. You get that, just go somewhere. This one.
Pretty good view. He's in the interrogation room. They're going to get him some food and water. This is just the body cam that leads up to the interrogation. This is not the interrogation room footage. This is the condition of the defendant when he was taken into custody, the travel from his house to the police station, coming up the elevator and into the interrogation room, right up to the moment where it precedes the interrogation.
So he's going to get you some food, and then the other guy's going to get some water. I know it's especially plowing all day. Long day.
Defense wants to show that he was tired, that he was exhausted, he was questioned when he mentally was not fit to be questioned, which is an interesting argument considering they have a witness who is not on the stand because he's mentally unfit to be questioned as well. They might be able to use this in defense to say, I was exhausted, I didn't know up from down, I didn't know what I was saying, I was clearly confused, but I remember clearly now.
Slim didn't work? You don't have any food allergies or anything like that? Do you do like commercial, residential kind of combination? Okay. How long have you done that? Do you work for them for outside of snow, or is it just what's like your day to day? What do you do for like a day? Oh, nice. Where do you do that? Okay. Yep. Right on 108 there. Yeah.
Still waiting for the food and the water to be delivered, maybe? That is a pen held at chest level. Looks like a lightsaber.
Do you experience all these? Years, months, yeah. All that's via sound or okay. Again, if you feel like you need EMS or you just want water, so I'm going to stand up, take the cuffs off. So if they'll get in, not like you're going to pass out. We'll have you sit back down. Just going to want you to fall.
Cuffs are coming off.
Traumatic, I'm sure. So you kind of sit, see, and you want to take your footy up. Yeah, make you calm. Yep. Looks like you have some blood on your hand and others.
Officer spots blood on his hand. Jason's looking at it.
Food. And if anything changes, you feel like you're getting too lightheaded.
Tell you anything you want to know, Ayden.
Yep, so I just gotta go over some paperwork and stuff. Yeah, I know, I hear you. I just want to make sure that you're aware of your rights and everything else too. You know, you sound pretty straight up honest. It sounds like this was kind of like something happened that wasn't planned, is what it seems like. So I just want to get, you know, there's two sides to the story. So I just want to hear what your version of events and we'll kind of go from there. But I want to make sure that you're fully aware of what's going on before I talk. So make sure you get a second to compose yourself for some words. Especially if you had one. And my apologies, I don't know my first name. Jason. Jason J. Yeah, I mean, you want to have the nature of the cycle or everything.
How's that Slim Jim?
I'm just going to check out here. You're good to just hang out here. You hear anything like that?
If you need any sunscreen for these bright lights, just let me know. Officer folds his arms on his chest, which effectively blocks our view. We're looking through the crook in his arm. Where the bicep meets the forearm. Off comes the hoodie. Stretch the neck a little bit.
Like I said, help yourself to the beef jerky stick and kind of all
It is the full-size Slim Jim, not the little one. Help yourself to the beef jerky. He's asked again if he feels like he needs to feels like he wants to pass out, or he's going to lay down on the floor now. Gets down off the chair. Uses the table to support himself. Lays down on the ground on the other side. Mike's muted again. The officer's holding the mute button because he knows that these things record audio. They didn't do GSR testing because he admitted to doing the shooting. GSR testing is to prove that you, in fact, did fire a gun. He's already admitted to that. If he was saying I never fired a gun, they might do testing then. It's a long time to hold the mute button on a body cam. At this point, it starts getting suspicious.
Yep.
Corey Richards wants to move. Oh, wow. I'll tell you, the atmosphere, the environment around the Park City courthouse is amazing. That's where the 2002 Olympics were held. You're in a ski town, beautiful mountains around you, beautiful air. Salt Lake City is downtown. It's a little different. Well, and I don't know exactly how long it was supposed to last. It was supposed to be over yesterday, but then the court had some hiccups with their computer systems going down.
Okay.
This is the last witness for the state, so it could go.
No, I just want to talk to this guy while he's still going and talk to this.
Could go very quickly from here.
I'm going to take mine off, yeah.
Taking off the body cams. Do the vest.
Do you have the cameras up?
Before the vest stops recording.
Yeah, if you want to try and get that up too.
Verifies the cameras in the room are recording.
I can't open that key anymore anyway. If the room's video recorded, I can stop the body camera. I'll just record on my phone too. Or should I? Do you have that mount? I think mine's on my vest for the other one. Yeah, just put it on the table. Do that. Alright. Why don't you go do Flather's desk? And I'll show you as far as getting the computer set up so you can watch.
Headed back to the interrogation room.
Yeah. I don't.
I've been going to the observation room to watch the video. Let's see where he goes.
So okay.
Now he's going back in.
Yeah, if you want to share on. This is the under person. J.A.S.
He's filling out the Miranda rights paperwork.
We're going to make something on the Basically, you want that song here, or you want something else? All right.
Jason tries the water. He's back in his chair now.
Yeah. And you said we're going to summer how tall? Eyes are brown.
Physical description, brown eyes, and it cuts off.
Right now.
Defense continues cross-examining the detective now. Defense attorney's at the podium on the far left, I think. We can't look at him because we'll see the jury.
Okay, we started that video at 4143 Summer Street at around 10:17 p.m. and it ends about a half hour later, approximately. Okay?
Okay.
And that's just the beginning of your contact with Jason on April 4th, 2024, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's what he looked at like at the very beginning of your contact.
Yes, sir.
And how many hours went by before you broke off with Jason?
When I last had contact with him, or stopped because we took a number of breaks throughout.
Yeah, when was the end of the interrogation?
The whole body cam footage, I believe, is about 3 hours and 40-something minutes.
Okay, so it went on more than 3 hours from the time it cut off there.
From my initial response time before the camera started rolling for today, all the way till the end of my contact with Jason, yes.
And can we safely assume that he wasn't given like an hour to sleep or anything?
It wasn't a full hour, no.
No. In fact, basically you would leave the room at times and he would just lay down on the table.
Correct. He had also indicated that he would like to speak with me, so that was part of the other discussion that was going on as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys went through an entire, give and take for quite a long time.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, sir.
Well, I mean, after we cut off on that video, you kind of basically started by building that rapport with him.
We had a conversation and then we started going into some of the details after reading him his Miranda rights.
Yeah, after you gave him his Miranda rights, right?
Correct.
Yes. And before you gave him his Miranda rights, you kind of did your introductions with him?
Yes.
And you made it clear to him that you just wanted to hear his side of the story?
Something to that effect, yes.
Yeah, to the effect of you knew that it went pretty quick that night and you just wanted his side of the story.
Correct.
And then you went over the Miranda rights with him, and then you basically said, the floor is yours, tell me what the heck happened, right?
Yes, I left it very open-ended to start so that way he could tell me what had gone on that night.
What he told you that went on that night was that he was plowing, and plowing in front of his home and the home of the, actually not even plowing in front of the home of the alleged victim.
So he said that he had done a couple passes, so he hadn't really started going too extensive with the plowing, but yes.
He never told you that he was plowing any snow onto the alleged victim's driveway or anything?
He mentioned doing, I believe, if I'm correct, about 2 passes one way and then 1 pass the other. I'm not sure if he went into detail as far as where the snow ended up. If there's a certain line that you want me to reference, I can certainly look at that.
Yeah, but I mean, you actually looked at independent videos and you came to your own conclusion.
At one point later in the interview, I was able to watch some independent video, yes.
Right. And he only plowed up to that utility pole.
Correct.
Right. And that utility pole is on his side, his property.
I'm honestly not sure.
I'm not sure. Well, it certainly isn't in the driveway of Mr. Palate.
The telephone pole won't be in a driveway, correct?
All right, so he was not plowing snow into the driveway of Mr. Palate, right?
I don't know that.
Well, you do know that. You looked at the videos. You had an opportunity to speak with him. I mean, just photographs. I mean, the whole thing.
Yes, I've watched the video. I can't, personally, I'd have to rewatch the video to see if the snow ended up going into the driveway or not.
You recall no such thing happening.
From the vantage point of the camera, I couldn't tell you if the snow ended up in the driveway.
And the jury has access to the videos as well. I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, but you wanted to know what the contact was with this guy and what happened that night. And he told you that he had just gotten home from picking up his daughter.
Correct.
And that he was a plow guy. He was plowing, and he had a black truck. And he was doing cleanups all day.
Yes.
And he says he's starting to move snow. And all of a sudden, something's going on. He's going outside and he's locking up his hubs, right?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how he explained that to you, what that was all about?
Yes. So he basically said he has to manually lock the hub, so he would have to get out of his vehicle to basically activate the four-wheel drive in his vehicle.
Right. It was mechanical. It wasn't electronic. It was something he had to actually do manually.
Correct.
He explained that to you.
Yes.
And if you look at the video that the jury has had access to, that would be him bending over near the front of his truck.
That would be consistent with what he's explaining, yes.
And then he describes what happened. He says, all of a sudden, he came from his driveway, which is 43 Summer Street. Now, this would be meaning Kyle Violet.
That's my understanding, yes.
And he describes him as having no shirt on. He put his shirt on. He was yelling at me that he's going to fucking kill me. Fucking kill my family if I put snow in front of his driveway.
Yes.
That's what he said. Now, this comes out of nowhere, right? He tells you this is like, comes out of nowhere.
Essentially, yes.
And he says he looked at him, and then Kyle gets in his face, and Jason's saying he can't believe what's going on, right?
Is there a specific line that you're asking for?
Line 18, page 18.
18. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's okay. Basically says I just kind of looked at him. He got in my face even further that I didn't believe him that he's going to fucking kill me and my family.
Yes.
And he says, I don't even know this guy. Right?
Correct.
But he goes on to explain something else. What else does he explain?
Is there a specific line?
You approach.
Some objections here. I don't even know this guy. They're getting close to the conversation about, all I know is that a month ago, he came out and threatened my family. So the state obviously doesn't want him to be able to get in this. So we'll see if it's allowed or not. Camilla, do you know why we don't have streaming courts here in California? Because the courts don't want people to see what's going on in the system. California has some amazing laws on the books about transparency. And in actuality, I found that they're not very useful. They have whole departments of people to help you file a FOIA request, and then probably 10 times that to make sure you never get the data you're looking for. I've never been successful in getting information out of California. We have tried, and you get the runaround constantly, and it is very difficult to get in courts. It's not everything. I mean, there are some courts that are televised, but it's just difficult to work with them. It's bizarre. Yep. Yes, ironically, California is where we had OJ. And yeah, we've had some big cases out of California that get coverage, but on a day-to-day, on the smaller cases, the little stuff that's not so big, it's harder to get out. They also are very aggressive in their language about televising Zoom courts and how they state that they have jurisdiction everywhere that the internet goes. And I'd rather not be the poster child for fighting a judge on that. Montana's a phantom state. Is it real? I've never met anyone from there. Do they let you leave the state? Nobody wants to leave the state. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. Get up there north of Yellowstone. Well, other than the fact that it has Superfund cleanup sites that are terrible, just the nature's beauty is phenomenal up there. They have lakes up there that if a duck lands on it, they die. Just flooded mines. Had the Bronco chase. Oh, they've got great transparency on police chases. That's because they happen in the public and the news cameras can see them. The Butte Superfund site is down the street. Yeah, something needs to be done there. That is terrible. My brother-in-law has a Bronco chase screensaver on his pick for years. Tom, this is going to be a tough one for defense to explain, and I think if he doesn't take the stand, there is no chance of him winning. If he takes the stand, it's a very, very slim chance of him winning. Meanwhile, I'm trying to remember my password for getting into the docs page for Utah courts to see if I can pull the Corey Richens filing from Monday that she wants to change of venue. I think I saved the password on this computer. Need to log into my account. That's not it. Forgot password. Okay. Helps if I remember my username. Let's see. I watched the OJ verdict with a couple classrooms of high school students, and when it was announced, they all whooped and cheered. I was stunned. Virginia, you don't know anything about Corey Richens? Corey Richens is accused of poisoning her husband with fentanyl in a sandwich, I think. And after he passed away, she wrote a children's book about dealing with death for children, her children, and went on a national book tour before it was revealed that it looks like she may be the one that caused his death. Now she's in custody in Summit County in Utah. Letter of her mom is a piece of work, just amazing individual as well. Password is password. Okay, I'll try that one next time. In a Moscow Mule. Okay, the first time was in the egg salad sandwich, though, right? The second time was in the Moscow Mule. We've been out to 2 of her hearings in person so far. A couple days up there. But she's her court date is coming up quickly, and now she just asked for a change of venue, which seems a little late. Egg salad on Valentine's Day, lemon drop shot poisoned. Yeah, he had suspicions that she was trying to poison him. She didn't write the book. She had a ghostwriter. The book was called Are You With Me, I think, but she was the face. It was her name on the book. She claimed credit. The Walk the Dog letter is fantastic. We've gone over that here on this channel, which I think is not coming in, if I remember correctly. Can somebody confirm? Is the Walk the Dog letter being allowed to be presented at court? I thought they ruled it out. Know me. We talk about a poisoned egg salad sandwich, and you want a sandwich now. It was poisoned. Plagiarism. How uninspiring do you have to be to plagiarize a children's book? Most AI models can write your children's books nowadays. I mean, there's a couple that are just great back in the day that AI would never write. Like, AI is not going to come up with The Giving Tree, right? Isn't that Shel Silverstein? Oh my goodness, that book makes me cry. Amazing book. But nowadays, AI is going to write books. Who can afford egg salad? Wasn't plagiarized, was ghostwritten. It's different. It's different. Ghostwriter, you pay them to write the book, and you get to put your name on it. Charred Monster, I agree. AI is awful. And I say that knowing that AI writes some of the songs we play on this channel. AI is awful. AI is really good at research. Phenomenal at research. Corey went on every talk show, even Good Morning America. Yeah, I hope some of those get played. It looks like they're almost done at the bench. I have not been following the discussion here, but the state's about ready to turn and walk back to their seat, so they're clearly done. Body language shows it. Yep, there we go.
Okay, the objection is sustained.
Objection sustained. New question.
What he explained to you was that this individual came at him across the driveway, correct?
Yes.
And he came at him unannounced, and it was a mystery to Jason as to why he came at him.
He did mention having reread 18 about that he did move snow into the front part of his driveway of his neighbor to where his neighbor's grass was, and then he backed up. But as far as the reason why he was coming out at that time, I'm not sure as far as what Jason thought.
But the impression and the clear communication he had with Jason was that he was surprised that such an activity took place.
I believe so, yes.
And when he came out, it was almost immediate that he was threatening Jason, he was threatening Jason's family, and in fact, Jason made it clear to you that his daughter was in the truck with him.
Yes, he indicated that his daughter was in the truck and that the other gentleman had come out and was making threats towards him.
Now, during direct, the prosecutor said that, and you somehow stated that it was a conditional threat?
Yes.
Well, it was a threat.
Yes.
Okay. And it was clear that the individual that was the aggressor would have been Kyle Violet, right?
He's the one that's coming out and making the conditional threat, yes.
He's the one coming out and not only saying things out of his mouth, but literally sticking his nose into Jason's cheek, right?
He got close. The video quality's not good enough to say that his nose touched his cheek from what I saw, but he definitely got close to him, yes.
Well, the jury's going to be able to run those videos over and over
Yes.
in the deliberation room, and they were shown to the jury. And at one point, we counted the number of contacts that Kyle would have had
Okay.
with Jason.
So the video that I saw was the one that was taken from, I believe it was possibly the neighbor's apartment, coming from that angle across the driveway. That was the video that I watched.
So you weren't able to ascertain what was going on?
I could see that he gets up there, but as far as cheek touching, you can't tell from that video, no.
You could tell that Jason didn't make one step toward Violet, correct?
At which point in time?
At the
Sorry.
initial point.
At the initial point, it looked like he had just stood there, yes.
Yeah, he just stood there, and he stood there, and if Jason kind of described it as though he was like paralyzed or just standing still, that would be what you saw too.
That's what he said in his statement, yes.
Yeah, and that's what was on the video.
Yes.
And also what he said in the statement was that he didn't make a move toward Violet, but Violet made the move toward him.
For the initial interaction, yes.
Yeah, for the initial confrontation. Right?
Yes.
So it's clear, I just want to make this clear, because we're going to be moving down the road here a bit, that the initial aggressor would have been Violet, right?
The individual that came out of his house and started making a threat was Kyle Violet, yes.
Now, you'll agree with me, things can go fast in these situations, right? I mean, it can go like a blur.
It can go fast, yes.
And we're not talking about a situation where somebody had a lot of time to roll over in their mind what to do and how to do it, right?
These are quick decisions, yes.
And we also know the background of Jason Levesque that day was one of an individual that was up over 40 hours, right?
I'm not sure what time exactly he got up, but he said that he had been plowing for over 24 hours.
I told you that he had gotten up, I think, at 8 o'clock the preceding day.
Do you have the page and I can reference?
It's on hand. He got up, he didn't have any sleep the preceding day from the time he got up.
Okay.
And we saw the video just moments ago of him needing to lay down.
Yes, he has to lay down.
And he also told you that he was tired because of the plowing and the time that he was up so long.
Yes.
And, he was offered food. Did he ever eat anything?
Yes, he ended up eating some chocolate.
A little bit of chocolate?
Yes.
Went like 2 Hershey's Kisses or something?
I don't remember exactly what he ate, sir.
It's an old Halloween candy.
And that would have been later
station.
on during the interrogation.
I'm not sure if he ate them during the interview or the interrogation part of it.
Okay. Now, he also attributed to Violet the fact that Violet had threatened him on more than one occasion that night, right?
In the initial, I believe he said that he had threatened him once, but then he may have repeated the same threat, possibly more than once throughout the night, yes.
Or other things, because he was saying he was screaming at him or yelling at him.
Is there a specific line that you're referencing?
He didn't have any specific recollection that evening, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the
Let me
question.
ask you something. Did you ever ask him, as you were moving through the interview, other than the initial threat, were there other threats that he made?
Ooh. During the initial response, it was more open-ended. I let him just talk, and then there were some follow-up questions. As far as if there was a distinct question, I'm not sure.
But he was very concerned about another individual that was with him that evening, correct?
He was concerned about his daughter, yes.
Yeah, he was concerned about his 19-year-old daughter that was seated in the passenger seat, right?
Yes.
And in fact, he was concerned that Violet had threatened her as well, right?
The initial threat had threatened both him and his family, so that would include his daughter, yes.
Right. Now, he stated that, in fact, that his daughter was, in essence, petrified, right? Scared.
Is there a specific line that you're referencing?
I think it's 41. I think it's after you had said, and I don't want to get into. Oh, sorry.
The state's once again trying to keep them from getting into this area. So far, the judge has sustained every objection the state's made in this regard. I know the defense can't open their own door, but ask him if there's any other threats. Judge has a copy of this transcript.
Let me rephrase the question, please. Sure. Did he communicate to you that his daughter was afraid that night?
Yes.
Did he communicate to you that his daughter had gotten out of the truck briefly and then got right back in the truck during this altercation?
Is there a specific spot for that you're referencing? I don't recall that.
Okay, let me ask you this. When Violet is coming toward Jason, all right, walking towards him, and starts getting nose to nose, is she still in the cab?
He expressed to me, I believe, that she had stayed in the vehicle seatbelted the whole time. But if there's a time that I may be forgetting, if there's a specific spot you want to reference, then I can take a look.
No, that's fine. That's exactly the answer. And he also says that at this point in time, he felt overwhelmed, right?
I believe so, yes.
And that would have been when Violet literally was nose to nose with him.
Correct.
Now, did Jason claim to you that he had a perfect memory of what went on?
I don't believe he ever said that, no.
Hey, let me ask you another general question. Did you ever think that maybe after you got a good night's sleep, you might want to actually sit down and have another interview with him?
That would be a conversation down the road, yes.
Did you ever attempt to reconnect with Jason, let's say the next day?
So I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if that was the next day arraignment. Typically after they're arraigned, they would need attorney involved due to constitutional protections. But I didn't speak to him again after that, no.
No, I mean, did you reach out to anybody and say, let's get back together now that Jason's, recovered, gotten some sleep, and we'll go over a statement so he can review it and see if it's accurate. Did you ever do anything like that?
So I never spoke to him again after that initial interview.
Now, how many different angles of that video did you observe?
To my knowledge, I just remember watching the video from, at least in its entirety, the video from the neighbors. Other detectives might have had the cameras open at some point watching them, but that's the main one that I saw that night.
Okay, so that's the only angle and the only distance that you were able to ascertain in contact, right?
That's the only video I remember watching that night before I interviewed him or interrogated him on that part.
Now, Jason tried to get it point by point with you. You'd agree with me that in such a situation, shortly after a traumatic event like that, he may actually have been inaccurate in some of the things he was telling you.
You're asking if he could be inaccurate when he's telling? Yes, he could certainly be inaccurate on details.
Yeah. I mean, when you take in the factors of the recency of the event, the shooting itself, the fact he hadn't slept for about 40 hours. All these things should be taken into consideration.
Certainly, you got to take into effect people's amount of sleep. You got to take into effect the time, spatial distance between the event and when you're talking to somebody. But again, it was Jason that indicated that he wanted to tell me what had happened that night.
No, I get it. He said that when he was standing up, that's when he saw Kyle coming.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and I think on page 44, you said, so you stood up because you hear him yelling, a natural reaction.
Yes.
And Jason agrees.
Yes.
And then you said, and when you were overwhelmed, kind of describe what your body was doing, how you were thinking, that kind of stuff. And he gave you an answer, right?
Yes.
And what was the answer?
He said, I kind of just froze, like I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to come up to me. I didn't know what was going to happen.
So at that point in time, he didn't yell back at him or do anything, right? Right?
I don't believe so.
No, yes. So you never said anything back to him at this point?
Correct. And he said no, because I didn't want to escalate the situation or, irritate him or whatever you want to use for a word, but make it any worse.
Right. And you were actually asking this question to see what was going through his mind at the time of that contact, right?
Correct.
Right. And at the time of that contact, he says, well, you say, okay, and what does he say?
He says, again, my daughter's in the car. I don't know who this guy is. I still don't know who he is. I don't know what he's capable of. I just didn't want to have any type of problem with him.
And you agree, and then he answers, and he says what?
And obviously he seemed like he was ready to fight.
So that was the impression that you asked him to convey to you with regard to the initial contact, right?
I was asking, yes, what he was thinking, what his emotions, what his body felt like during the initial response, yes.
Right. And the initial response, in essence, was he was frozen, he was shocked, and he thought this guy was ready to fight.
That's what he expressed, yes.
And he was concerned about his daughter.
Yes, he also expressed that as well, yes.
He also goes on to indicate to you that at one point he walks away and then turns around. Right? I'll give you
who are you 46. Referencing in that?
Page 46. And from the top down.
Okay. So I ask, is when he turned around, and how far away is that at that point? I'm not familiar with where and Mr. Levesque says, yeah, no problem, maybe 15 feet. So then I ask, okay, and so he turns around, and how's his body? What's he saying, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you'd agree with me, if you look at the video, this beginning of the contact to the end of the contact with the last shot fired is about probably a total of 11 seconds, something like that.
It's fairly quick, yes.
And he says, what does he say when you say, what's he saying? That kind of stuff? What's his answer?
Sorry.
Line time.
Yes. Mr. Levesque says he's still very agitated. He's got his fists. He's very animated in how he's yelling. And just, he's going to fucking kill me and my family for moving snow, I guess.
Now, this whole conditional threat, he didn't say that when he turned around and said that it was a conditional threat. He said, he's going to fucking kill me and my family for moving snow, I guess. Right? So Kyle didn't say for moving snow, I guess, right?
He's explaining what happened. I don't know if he's actually saying verbatim like he did previously as far as what the threat was. I think he's paraphrasing more, but certainly he does say, and I can read it again, he's still very agitated. He's got his fists. He's very animated in how he's yelling, and just he's going to fucking kill me and my family for moving snow, I guess.
Now, the prosecutor asked you whether you heard anything on the video, any yelling or anything like that, right?
I believe so, yes.
I mean, did you guys do any kind of a scientific, test out there to determine whether or not you could even hear any yelling from that car?
I've been texting about a gig this weekend.
So
That's what I'm looking down and texting,
again,
sorry.
my involvement for this was the arrest and assisting with some of the follow-up. That was my involvement with this case.
Okay. Do you know if any kind of a decibel reading was taken at or around 41 Summer Street at the location where yelling was claimed to have taken place? Not from the house, not from individuals running outside, but from that very spot.
Sure, I'm not sure how if someone's yelling, I don't see how that's relevant because people's voices could be higher distances. Depending on where they are, I don't see the relevance of it, but.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was asked on direct.
Well, I didn't ask anything about decibel readings, Your Honor.
Did you hear yelling? Remember that on direct?
So you asked what should do your best to answer the question. So what about what's relevant, not relevant?
Sure, I don't remember it. I believe he asked about yelling, but I'm not positive, but I don't recall anything about decibels.
I say, okay, let's forget the
So
decibels.
we have a question.
Let's take the decibels and throw that out. Okay. You recall being asked about, did you hear any yelling?
Is there a specific page?
No, it's not a specific.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't recall.
You don't. Now, you agree that you said to him, and I'll guide you on this, it's the page that got cut off, I think, without the number. Might be 47. Basically, Jason was focused on Kyle, right?
Don't feel like a word.
He talks about there's a female as well.
Yeah. He hears a female yelling, and that may very well have been Kyle's girlfriend that was yelling in that video.
Oh, presumably, yes.
Now, let me ask you something, okay? I'm going to go through this checklist with you because I want to make sure that we don't paint Jason in some corner where he's trying to avoid answering questions. Okay? He's the guy that waited in his driveway for the police to show up, right?
After asked, from what I've heard, after asking if his daughter if he should run, yes, he waited in the driveway.
Well, I mean, he asked whether she, I mean, you don't know. There were many other things, we'll get to that, that may have, of course, been discussed in the cab of that truck, but he didn't run, right?
No, he didn't run.
Okay. Not only did he not run, he preserved the firearm and made it safe so that when police showed up, all right, it would be there for them in plain view in the cab of his truck, right?
Yes. This is what he told me.
When the officers arrived, he made sure that they knew he would be coming with them without resistance. In other words, he exited the truck with his hands up, right?
That would be a question for the other officers. I arrived on the scene after he was already in handcuffs.
Well, did you describe him as a cooperative individual when you were on your way to the station?
Yes, he was cooperative with me the entire time, yes.
Right. And this cooperative individual, in fact, did everything you asked him to do. He didn't resist one iota, right?
Not that I recall, no.
No, not at all. You had no reports of that at all, right?
I don't recall him not being cooperative. He was cooperative throughout.
Right. He told you where everything was. He said you could search his truck, right?
Yes.
He said you could seize his video equipment and videos from his home.
Yes.
He, when given the Miranda rights and the constitutional rights afforded to him, made a decision that he was going to speak with you, right?
Yes.
He was cooperative during the interrogation.
Yes.
I mean, he was basically sitting there as long as you want him to be there.
He was willing to answer my questions and talk to me for as long as I had questions up until that point, yes. He never asked to stop or anything like that.
You're the guy that terminated the interview, not him. He didn't say, I've had enough, I don't want to talk to you.
No, he never made a statement like that. As far as the termination, it was more, he was going downstairs to get fingerprinted and processed, I believe is how the interview kind of concluded.
Now this is, the backdrop of this is that you've got the guy that the jury saw in the video, but later on, about an hour later in fact, you start asking him questions again, like, can we go over, or what happened that night, right?
Yes, I would ask the same question a number of times in a number of different ways, yes.
And you wanted to swab his hands?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what that's all about?
Yeah, so typically we'll do GSR kits. It's a gunshot residue kit. Basically it just shows if you're in the presence of a firearm discharge or the equivalent. One of the questions on there is if you handled fireworks, because there might be some similar kind of chemicals or materials that you might handle that are similar in both.
Now, about an hour in, as you're going through this swabbing process, and this is after what the jury already saw, he tells you guys that he's not feeling so good, right?
Do you have a page reference?
79, 25.
I think the defense attorney could get some mileage out of pursuing the fact that this investigator can't remember what happened and has to review constantly.
Yes.
There might be a way to open the door that
out of the room at that time.
Was there a trash barrel or something offered in case he vomited?
Again, I can look at the transcript and say that, but I was out of the room when that conversation occurred. That was with Detective Flathers.
At that point in time, though, does he express that he's overwhelmed and tired?
So he says, I don't feel so good, just a second. And Flathers asks, do you want a trash barrel or something? And Levesque says, no, I want to lay down too. And then I come back. And then he goes on when I get back in the room saying, just give me a second, I think I'm just overtired and overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's when Flathers says, do you think you want an ambulance?
Yes.
And he responds, I'm overtired and I'm overwhelmed. Right?
Yes.
This is about an hour or so after what the jury just saw in that day.
So I returned with the swab kit into the room at 11:42 p.m.
About an hour. And he says there's a lot going on. Right?
Yes.
And he says, I'm trying to stay calm and focused, but sometimes I just get, I don't know. And I guess your partner says, like a little rush, and Levesque says, yeah. Hot, cold, I don't know. And I apologize if I stink. I feel like I just smell awful right now. Right?
Yes.
And that's because he had been working all day, hadn't had the opportunity to clean up.
Correct.
And then you go through the hand swab, correct?
Yes.
How long of a process is that?
It's relatively quick. They have basically almost like the kid stamps where you're just stamping around different portions of the hands, and then filling out a page that kind of asks them a few questions as well. But it's not a long process.
And he was cooperative through that, right?
Yes.
The judge would have to admonish you for being snarky, but sometimes we like that.
And you're trying to understand exactly what's going on, and he's telling you that there's some gray area with regard to what he's telling you, and that's on page 117, lines 23, 24, 25.
One moment. So he says, right, so I don't know if maybe there's a gray area, and that's what I think happened. And I just don't remember, I don't know.
But he's willing to stick around and continue to answer questions. And this is when you're actually asking him to rethink some of the things he's already said to you, right?
I'm asking, yes, if he basically is a tactic to ask him if, maybe the first story of events, you were just still in shock, so you weren't trying to mislead or lie to us or anything like that.
Right. In fact, you tell him that. He's saying, I'm being completely honest with you. And you say, maybe the first story of events, like maybe you were just still in shock. And he goes, yes, right, correct?
Yes, as part of an interrogation tactic, you can offer someone an opportunity to save face. If you tell somebody you're lying, sometimes that shuts somebody down and they won't talk to you anymore. So you give them an opportunity, a way out to still be able to communicate, still be able to talk to you without basically giving them no alternative.
Yeah, I mean, that's lovely, but that alternative wasn't offered to him when he had gotten a good night's sleep, right?
He had indicated that he still wanted to talk. So as far as asking if he wanted sleep, I didn't ask him if he wanted to stop to have sleep at that point in time. We were in the middle of the interrogation or beginning the interrogation at that point.
Or if inviting him to take a look at his statement and make any corrections.
Yeah, so he did ask me if he could review his prior statement, and there's a reason why, again, we do these spatial gaps. It's harder to remember all the lies that you're telling if there's a little bit of gap in between. Also, again, asking questions different ways. There's, some benefits of having that space.
Is it a good tactic to interview and interrogate people that are sleep deprived?
Again, Mr. Levesque indicated that he was willing to do the interview. He was in no obligation to do so. I read him his Miranda rights. It was his decision to speak with me.
Yeah, I'm glad that's the answer you're giving me, but is it a good tactic to interview people that are sleep deprived? Is that part of the tactics that you guys have?
As far as that, we don't typically go out seeking people that are sleep deprived. It's just the circumstances of events. He had been out plowing that whole night. We don't choose that, that he was out that whole day. That was the hand that was given to us, so that's what we had to work with.
But that's a hand that you can reshuffle, right? That's a hand where you can say, hey, we'll come back at 8 o'clock in the morning and talk. We'll come back at 10 o'clock in the morning and talk.
Again, no one was forcing Mr. Levesque to talk to us.
Nobody's forcing him. But would you take a neutral witness and say, hey, I know you haven't slept 40 hours, but I want you to give me a statement? Or would you say, would you like to have some sleep? And then give me an accurate statement.
Again, if he's willing to talk to us that night, we're trying to figure out what had happened that night. We're going to talk to him. If at any point in time he indicated to me that he would rather speak to me the next day, so maybe that would be something that we could revisit.
Well, you saw the guy nodding off right in front of you, didn't you?
So even during the daytime during arrests, we do have people nodding off. We have people, in booking that could be lying down. It's not uncommon for people to lie down on benches just during day shift, during the middle of the day. So that's not super uncommon.
It's super uncommon. But the jury got to see what he looked like. He's bedraggled, isn't he?
They certainly got to see what he looked like. What was the question? Sorry, I missed the last part.
Yeah. I know that you may say it's not super uncommon, but are you saying that it's a good tactic to interview witnesses to get an accurate story when they have not had slept for 40 hours? Is that a good environment to get an accurate statement? Honestly.
It's still fresh in his memory. I think there's still some benefit of talking to him then. Certainly, again, revisiting once you get a full night's sleep, you might be able to get some additional information. Right. But again, at that point, he would have been arraigned.
He's not going to get anywhere with this detective. He's trying to get him to admit that it was a bad move. It sounded like defense asked to approach. Maybe the judge asked him to approach. He's like, you've asked him 6 different ways. He's not answering. Where are you going with this? And he's like, I don't know. He's not answering the question. You've got something on your coat. Oh. Judge called the sidebar. Say, how long is this going to go on? We've got a schedule. We're already over. They check the clock. We're going to move on. Break time.
5-minute break. Quick restroom. I'll be back after this. I'm hoping we can wrap up quickly today, but it'll take time. All rise. All right.
The state did not call for this sidebar. They did not object. That was the judge calling them over, saying, how long is this going to go on? So, Utah is one of the few states that when you're trying to search up court records, you have to pay to search.
Yes, sir. Yes, Ron.
We'll be in the gallery. Can you see this? I just want to put on the record real quick before you start. I looked at the cases while we were about this issue involving completeness. And I just want the record to be clear. I'm relying on a couple cases. State versus Botello, which is a 2013 case, 165 New Hampshire 751, and State v. Mitchell, 166 New Hampshire 288, that's a 2014 case. Both cases involve situations where the state intended to put in portions of an interview of the defendant, the defense is trying to see other portions of that interview and document completeness, and the court declined that. Rejected that argument, arguing it was hearsay, and arguing that there wasn't sufficient prejudice or there wasn't sufficient misleading that you had to include those. And I think those are helpful or telling cases to review, especially Botello. I just wanted that part of the record clear. Now, Counsel, you have anything you want to discuss? Yeah.
So the judge just clarifies on his ruling about the issue of completeness what cases he was relying on. It's interesting that he clarified that. Interesting. Yes, anyone has to pay. It doesn't matter if you're Utah resident or not. It's only 20 cents each time you search, and it's fine. I fill up an account. I have an account with them that I'll put a few bucks on. But every time it's imagine this. Imagine if you had to pay 20 cents every time you did a Google search. And then when you see the results, you're like, okay, I want that result. I'm searching for Gmail. I search for Gmail. I found the page for Gmail. When you click on that, that's going to be another 10 cents. And then if you want to print something off, we're going to charge you per page that you print. This is how Utah does their paperwork. And it's nuts. There is no way. The search that I performed on this on this exchange used 20 cents worth of any resource for the state. There's no way. And of course, if you don't get all your search terms exactly right, you get no answers. It's like, oh, it didn't return any results. We don't show any Corey Richens cases for the state of Utah. Oh, that's because I didn't say it's not the state of Utah. It's only one county within the state of Utah. It's just Summit County. Oh, okay, now we found Corey Richens. So, gotta love them. Gotta love them. Gotta get their money somewhere. Okay, Corey Richens, plaintiff. Looking for a case number. Corey Richens as defendant. Looks like 226500418 is the case number. Let me save this one so we don't have to spend that 20 cents again. Got it. Oh no, that's the wrong one. That's the tax commission. Can I go back maybe without researching? She's a plaintiff. If only she wasn't in court so much. At least she spells her name in a unique way. '20, 2017. Yeah, if your YouTube's acting up, your audio or something is happening, it's probably on your end. My end's working just fine right now. Got 6 pages of Richens in Summit County. I'm going to use this search as much as I possibly can. Corey, where are you at? On page 6. On page 5, she's the petitioner. On page 4, her? What is her? Party code her. You just have to, I can just ask, Amber, do you have the case number for the Corey Richens case? That would be a lot easier. The criminal case. Page 3. Not seeing it. Okay. All right, quick break here. So we're waiting for them to come back. Let's see. Yeah, court ends at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's 3:15. Amber might be in a meeting. There it is on Discord. Okay, so let me do a new search. Clear search fields. Let's search for 235-00139. You have to do a search to get the documents. So every time you want new documents, you have to do a search. It's just great. Search. Are you sure you want to spend 20 cents? Yes. No matching record is found. Grrr. Let's make a payment, shall we? Time to break out my business card and charge up my account. I was trying to do it with my last 30 cents on there, but no worries. Ivan Says chipping in for a few query searches. They're dirt cheap. It's just one I'm getting. This will cover like the entire case, Ivan. It's not that expensive. I just can't read my card number out loud to you guys, or else suddenly I'm buying things I didn't know I wanted. You guys can't see this, right? I'm making sure. There's the code, the expiration date. All the scammers are wishing they had this info on me. Ivan, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. You can read it out loud. You can trust us. Right. There may be a new trial that's starting today that we might be picking up on. We'll see. We'll see how we'll be starting it tomorrow. But see, how much do we put on? Now I get to print the receipt from my accountant. Download. Because this is a tax write-off. Nicely done. All right. We're going to get to this document here in just a minute. Rose with Thorns, thank you very much. Good for 10 searches. I appreciate that as well. I missed that when it came in. 235-00139. And we're going to search in Summit County only. It's not coming up. This is just frustrating. Search again. Okay, now I've got all our stuff. It's good. We got it. Ivan, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's super generous. You get some good people there. Good aim. Good aim. Okay, she has, when you look at Corey Richards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times she's been in court. I think some are family cases. Let's see what we have here. Let's see, as far as defendants, we have a couple. Amber, you're saying 139? I'm not showing that as a case number for her. We've got 164 where she's a defendant. 262, she's a defendant. Let's view that one. Man, I'm just not seeing it. Hey, bud. Okay, I'll do this when I'm not distracted next time. Hey, what's up? Hey. Do you want to, let me turn the mic off for you to tell me. Hang on. Really? That's cool. It traded with you. That's awesome. The kids went on a field trip today to a like a bird sanctuary where they have a bunch of trained birds and crows and stuff, little trade sticks and candies, and it's a very smart bird, and he's describing that to me. He loved it. All right. It's only showing 4 people you gifted. What? YouTube's done that occasionally. It hides some of the gifted memberships. And I think it has to do with whether or not the person who receives the gift has the option turned on to allow people to see who they're subscribed to. That's how it was explained to me when I brought it up to YouTube. Mama Bear says, yes, Jeff from Legal Vices is missed. His son has a channel called Vice Baby. Connor is his name. I've not really watched much of it, so I don't know what he focuses on. What's out there? Connor's great. He plays games online. The judge. How we all doing? Bailiff radios in, bring the jury. The state does not have computers because their computer network is down, so they're running entirely off paper today. I was like, YouTube's ripping me off. No, they give away a membership but don't tell us who received it. This is how it's been told. Mama Bear of One, you just received one. See, you chatted, and then you chatted right here, and then you received a membership. It's funny how that works. Naomi, thank you very much for gifting the membership. Ivan, thanks for your generosity. I appreciate you, my friend.
All rise. Jerry entering.
Dog lover, let me see your question here. Selena K, thanks for your generosity.
Please be seated. All right. Now please continue.
If I continue, go on to the next topic, please.
In your interview, towards the end, and I've been asking you, like, why didn't you reconnect with him when he slept? Let's get the pig.
Can't find it, dog lover. Sorry about that. Kelly Work, thanks for gifting a membership.
He indicated on page 152, we're already up to 1:47:40 a.m. So he's been in there quite a while, right?
Yes, again, the whole interview was about, well, my whole response was about 3 hours and 48 minutes, give or take.
Just shy of 4 hours.
Did you ever indicate to him that this was not the end all and be all, and that you can always touch base again? Okay, page 150, line 21.
Yeah, so I said, and this isn't the be-all, end-all. If you think of something after, we can always touch base again, but we'll take another break. And he goes, yep.
Take another break.
basically says he needs a little rest on 151, line 23. Right?
Yes, that was near the...
And Levesque puts his head down on the table.
Near the end of the interview, yes, he put his head down on the table.
He's exhibiting exhaustion, isn't he?
Yes.
He's not saying he wouldn't talk to you again. In fact, he kind of dangled it out there.
Yes, I indicated that he could reapproach us and talk to us. Again, if he's tired, this might be the only opportunity that we have to speak with him. Once this hits the news, once he's arraigned, once he has an attorney, there's a very low likelihood that we're ever going to get another chance to speak with him. So, yes, I did speak with him.
I know he did. And again, he made no invitations afterwards.
Again, it was said right there, the line you had me read, that this wasn't the be-all, end-all. If he would like to speak with us again, certainly we can reapproach.
Or if you would like to speak with him.
If there's other questions, yes, that we had.
And again, you didn't ever send out that invitation, did you?
I did not know.
Now, he's repeated to you on a number of occasions that he's trying to give you the best description that he can. I mean, I can go through a number of pages, but I'll just randomly pick one out. Page 117, starting at line 11.
So Mr. Levesque says, yeah, I've been completely honest with you about the whole thing to the best of my knowledge, to the best of what I can remember. That being said, I don't remember correctly, or I'm not giving the right account of it, but it's hard to try and give the best description of it if, you know what I mean? Like, to break it down slowly like we did.
Right. And you said, yeah, like I said, he says, I'm being completely honest with you. This is on 118. You say maybe the first story of events, like maybe you're just still in shock, right?
Yes, again, it's offering that save face opportunity, that maybe he wasn't telling the truth the first time, but here's your opportunity to tell us what had happened.
Well, maybe the truth is a little hard, don't you think, Detective? Maybe he wasn't being completely accurate because he was exhausted too, right?
Tiredness could certainly have an impact, yes.
And in fact, you told him, so you weren't trying to mislead us or lie to us or anything like that. And Levesque shakes his head no. In fact, you continue with him and you say, I don't think, again, I think you're intentionally lying to us or anything like that. I think it was just, an honest mistake, that first version of events, and Levesque goes right. And he sticks with you and he says, let's go through it again, basically, right? I mean, he's telling you, take my video. He brings it up to you. Right?
On
118.
So on 118, he goes, if I wouldn't go, hey, I have some video of, and again, the whole situation, like.
Yeah. He's trying, right?
Trying to what, sorry?
Be honest and complete with you.
It's always speculative.
He's telling you that, and you're telling him that on page 119.
What his claims are concerning his honesty versus whether he's being with the brother.
Another approach. I think the judge is going to sustain this one. You can't tell the jury that he's being honest with you. That's for the jury to decide. Yes, Red changes her name often. What is it now? Red penetrometer? What's a penetrometer? Dare I ask? All I can think of is Reba McEntire in the movie, what is it, Tremors? Saying, we're not getting any penetration. Is that it? She's trying to shoot the elephant gun into the big snake thing that lives in the ground. Jury needs a screaming goat. I'll use mine for them. There we go. It's a ground hardness measuring tool. Ah. And so it's what the weathermen have, right? Measures density. Let's go check out the bailiff. Bailiff is not playing Candy Crush any longer.
May I ask you next question? You told him that the most important thing in his life was his daughter, right?
Something to that effect, yes.
And he agreed, right?
Yes.
And this is the same daughter that he had articulated concerns about during this whole interaction.
Yes.
Same one he picked up that evening and the same one that was in the cab while they were being approached by Kyle Violet.
Yes, while he was being approached by Kyle Violet, she was in the vehicle, yes.
Was there other procedures that took place that he was cooperative with that night? And I'll go through a couple.
Okay.
Fingerprinting?
Again, I didn't do the fingerprinting, so I'm assuming he was cooperative, but that's only an assumption. I can't tell you that for certain.
Right. But there were no reports that he had any problems with any other police officers that evening?
I never heard of him having an issue with fingerprinting.
If I could have 1 second. Yes.
Are they done? Are they done?
Thank you.
Counsel, redirect? Yes. You had been asked about tactics for interviewing, interrogating people. What's the objective of any tactic that you use?
To receive an accurate, honest answer.
And is it included in your tactic to determine whether or not somebody's being straight up and honest with you?
There's definitely some consideration. You're interpreting what they say and trying to determine whether they're being honest, yes.
Well, let me put it this way. Would you lay out all the evidence in an investigation before you ask somebody questions about their claims concerning events?
No, it's actually better to let people continually tell a lie. That way you have more foundation to basically cross
catch them.
Some of the statements that they're making to determine what's accurate, what's not.
Similarly, do you think it's a good tactic to get honest and complete answers and to test credibility by affording a suspect an opportunity to, for example, consult with other people, review evidence that they may have available to them before approaching them to question them?
No, with that being said, though, certainly give them the opportunity if they want to confer with an attorney or a lawyer. But as far as if they're willing to talk to us, we're going to ask the questions and try and get the accurate information, yes.
And in fact, we'd refer to Miranda. Did you give him an opportunity to consult with a lawyer before talking to you?
Yes.
And did he waive that right and agree to talk to you?
Yes.
Concerning his fatigue and whatnot, was he accurate, for instance, in describing where these events occurred?
Yes.
Was he accurate in describing what he was doing, his activity prior to these events?
Yes.
Was he accurate in describing certain very specific details, like Kyle putting on a hoodie that was green or camo walking out of his driveway?
Yes.
And was he accurate in terms of disclosing to you how many rounds he shot into Kyle Violette's body?
He was accurate on how many shots he fired.
There were some other things, though. Attorney Sisti asked you about a section where you're saying, I believe you're not lying to me. Were you sharing your opinion about his credibility with him, or was that a tactic?
Again, it's a tactic. My opinions on the matter are kind of irrelevant. We're trying to figure out, the truth of the matter. So giving him, again, outs, giving him some belief that we're believing what he's saying is another tactic, basically, that you can use.
And that point at about 151 in the transcript where Attorney Sisti was asking you questions where you're sharing, I don't think you were trying to lie to us. Is that after you had disclosed that you actually had seen and obtained a video of this scene?
I believe that was after we referenced the video. I'd have to see what page I talked to the... 1 second. Presumably saying it's near the end of the interview or interrogation. Rather, I would say yes.
Can you take a look at approximately 99, line 24, where it appears to be the first time you actually call him out and say, would it surprise you that you're actually moving towards him after he claimed that he wasn't?
Yeah, so I asked, would it surprise you if you had moved towards him? And he asked, would it surprise me? And I responded, yeah. And he goes, and then I go, or to your recollection, you were pretty stationary with your feet. And Mr. Levesque responds, I don't believe I did.
And at that point, when you say, would it surprise you that you were actually moving towards you, is it at that point about that you had had an opportunity to review the first video?
Yes, I would have had, let me see when the break was. Do you know what page that I stepped out of the room?
I do.
Let's see context.
I'm sorry, with our current technical shutdown, I was unable to print out that section. But when you refer to would it surprise you, how would you know whether he was walking forward or not?
Yeah, so I mean that's an indicator that I likely had watched the video at that point if I'm referencing that in that kind of language.
Attorney Sisti pointed out something at about page 90, whatever, that the defendant brought up cameras. But can you turn to page 66?
Yes.
And 30 pages earlier. Page 66, line 18. Is that you asking, do you have any cameras that can cover any of the interaction tonight?
Yes.
Is that you bringing up the potential video footage of this evening in the first instance?
Yes.
Let's talk then about some of the details that came up here. The Attorney Sisti had asked, suggested, frankly, that Mr. Levesque didn't have any idea what was going on when the victim, Kyle, approached. Can I direct your attention to page 18, line 8?
Okay.
I think at one point you had started to share this information that Jason Levesque had acknowledged. Can you read what it is he said he had done just prior to Kyle coming out?
Yes, so Mr. Levesque says, I drive, started moving the snow. I had moved the snow into the front part of the driveway of my neighbor to where my neighbor's grass is, and I backed up. and I'd gotten out to put it in 4-wheel drive. It's the old style manual hubs. You have to lock them in.
Okay. So he characterized where he had just put snow and that he was continuing this job of moving snow from his driveway by back pulling it into the street.
Correct.
We don't have any, again, I don't want to nickel and dime this, but we don't have any idea where he was going to put all the snow that came out from his driveway.
No.
And this, we talked about it, but this conditional threat, I want to be clear on this point. Can you had confirmed earlier that Jason Levesque stated this was, quote, in his own word, verbatim and exactly what was said. That's at page 36, line 18 to 20. Can you repeat that?
Yes, sir. So Mr. Levesque says, yeah, he said, if you put that fucking snow at the end of my fucking driveway, I'm going to fucking kill you and kill your fucking family.
Concerning, you revisited that, and again, did that ever change in terms of him predicating his threat with moving the snow again in front of his driveway or his house or his property?
To my understanding, the threats all the time were regarding the snow removal.
And at any point, did, I get, these words, and your family, at any point did Jason Levesque claim it concerned specifically, and I know that daughter's included in a family, did ever specifically mention his daughter as part of the threat?
Not that the threat was specific to his daughter, it was to your family. He did bring up, or we did discuss his daughter at one point during the interview, but the threat itself was your family.
And did Jason Levesque ever claim that Kyle focused his attention on Kira in the cab of that truck?
He did not.
Did he ever claim that Kyle Violet was even aware that Kira was in the cab of the truck?
I don't believe he brought that up, no.
This description of him being nose to nose and making this threat kind of in his face, and he was overwhelmed, is that the point that Jason Levesque shot Kyle Violet?
No. Kyle had walked away from Mr. Levesque prior to that.
And after he walked away, page 43, line 16, can you share with us how Mr. Levesque characterized the continuing, conversation?
Mr. Levesque says, I don't know if he repeated it again before he started walking off. And then for some reason, he stopped and turned around and said, you don't fucking believe me? And he came back at me again.
And his claim about how far Mr. Violet came, does he share that? Is that where he's saying he's within 3 to 5 feet from him?
Possibly at one part of the interview, not close temporarily to that statement.
The questions have been about, accuracy. We had already talked on our first direct that he had claimed he shot him, didn't know whether he hit him the first time because he only flinched.
That's what he said, yes.
Okay. Did he appear, sort of overwhelmed by fatigue when he was making that statement to you? Or did you ask for details surrounding that event?
No, I asked for details for most of the interactions that he had with Kyle that night. So I would go into further detail once he made a statement. I would clarify, ask for more detail.
And likewise, when he made claims that he put 5 more rounds into Mr. Violet and Mr. Violet merely turned and walked away, were you able to ask details that he was responsive, questions about details that he was responsive to?
Yes, and he told me in a gist that he had continued to walk away holding his abdomen.
Locked. Concerning, some of these questions, follow-up questions about details, did that include asking him to do a sketch?
Yes.
Your Honor may approach.
Ooh, we have a witness sketch. I wonder if that door open next to the witness is actually looking into the jury deliberation room. A cheap little table and uncomfortable chairs. Is that where they're going to deliberate?
Yeah, you can go in a spoke.
Move the strike. 2728. 2728, or what exhibit? I'm going to show you what's been now marked as a state's full exhibit, 27 and 28, and ask whether you can identify that.
So these look like copies of the drawings that I asked Mr. Levesque to draw when the first shot went off, and then the second round of shots that went off.
And so you've labeled these first and second. Is that what you mean by first round of shot and second round of shots?
They're labeled first and second. That might be his handwriting. I might have asked him to label it.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
And so can you just, for the record, state to the jury where Mr. Levesque claimed he was standing, to describe it by other aspects of the drawing, during the second round, and where he claimed Kyle was standing?
Yeah, so based on the drawing, it looks like Mr. Levesque is towards the driver's side front. Well, it's the side, but it's near the front tire on the driver's side. And then Mr. Violet is closer to 41, like halfway in the drawing there.
Understood. And, the defense attorney, Mr. Attorney Sisti, had asked you about this area where, Jason, after you said, hey, look, I've seen some video, maybe you're mistaken. Maybe there's some gray area here. Is it your recollection that any of those mistakes, that Kyle remained standing, that he didn't react to being shot the first time, any of those mistakes sort of favor a claim of self-defense?
I'm going to object.
I'll withdraw.
Objection withdrawn. Are we done? Might be done with redirect. Might be done with the state's case. Might be ready.
Sir, those are my questions. I appreciate
Yep.
I sure do, Judge, and I'd like to approach first.
Sure.
The judge says, is there any recross based on the redirect? And he said, yes, but we'd like to approach first. This is his last shot to try to get something in. The state does not seem concerned. Everybody go get your transcripts. Come back up here, meet me at the bench. Defense now hoping that something they brought out of this this last cross can fall within the scope of the rule of completeness. He's making his argument to the judge right now. The rule of completeness is the only way he's bringing in the testimony that says that, in fact, the victim in this case, who was shot, Kyle Violet, allegedly made threats previously to the defendant, against the defendant and his family. So far, the jury does not have that piece of information, and they won't unless he's able to bring it in through rule of completeness on this transcript, or possibly the defendant take the stand and testify in his own defense. I didn't hear any doors open, but then I don't have the transcript. So it could be they went back and read a line out of a conversation that was encapsulated with information about that prior event. And if so, that might be enough to do it. Defense will make a motion for directed verdict. They'll do it right after the state rests. They've sort of they've made the preliminary motion, which the judge said at the time, realized that was yesterday. It's really not the appropriate time for that, but because the system's down, we can sort of halfway address it right now. He's basically done everything but deny it already. But he'll hear another argument in a minute. Sorry, just keeping an eye on some other stuff going on. Directed verdict will come. I'm confused. What is the directed verdict, please? Barb, that's where the defense asks the judge. They said, okay, the state is done. The state has not met their burden. They haven't proven the elements of the crime that they've charged. And because of that, we don't even need to go any further. The jury doesn't need to deliberate. We don't need to offer any other evidence. Just on the face value, they're done presenting evidence and they didn't meet the burden, so go ahead and just dismiss this case. That's what they're asking for. It rarely happens. It's happened occasionally. It rarely happens, and I will say it will not happen in this case. The state has presented enough evidence, I think, on every charge that this will all be going to the jury. Judge is now making a ruling I don't think either side's happy with. All right. That's what the directed verdict is. Defense will always ask. It preserves their record in case they mess up and need to appeal. What's the difference between that and a motion to dismiss? I think there's a motion. You can do a motion to dismiss at different times. A directed verdict or a judgment of acquittal usually happens at the end of the state's case. A directed verdict can be after the jury's returned a verdict as well. That's a judgment notwithstanding.
The fact of the matter is that Jason brought up the subject matter of the video cameras early in your interview with him, right? I'll refer you to page 25.
Thank you. Yes.
Right, and that's why you knew to ask him about cameras, see page 66, right? Line 15.
Yes, I asked him about the outside cameras.
Yes, you asked him. You mentioned from the prior event from 2 months ago, there were cameras out, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't come up with this request out of thin air. He already gave up that he had video cameras much earlier on in this interview.
Yes.
Now, would you agree with me that Jason was accurate when he claimed that Violet initiated the contact on April 4th?
He's the one that walked across the driveway yelling out to Jason, yes.
Okay, so that's a yes. And would you agree with me that Violet stuck his face into Jason's face?
I would agree with you that he got very close to him based on the video that I saw, yes.
Would you agree with me that Violet appeared to be agitated?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that Jason said that after the event, he parked the truck, stayed there and waited for police response?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that he left the firearm and he left it safe on the dashboard of the truck?
I would agree with you that he left the firearm in the truck.
Now, he never told you that he was able to specifically count the number of rounds that came out of the firearm. It's just that the magazine was empty, right?
He told me at one point that he had 5 + 1 and that he emptied the magazine.
Right. So it's a matter of doing math, not specific recollection of each trigger pull, correct?
I don't recall if he ever specifically said. I'd have to look. If there's a page that you're referencing, that would be helpful.
I don't have a page.
Okay.
Now, you know Kara Violet was a witness too, right? You know his daughter was a witness.
Yes.
And she was interviewed, right?
Not by myself.
No. But do you know whether or not she was sleep deprived or anything like Jason was?
I do not.
Do you know what she claimed to hear?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay speculation.
I'm not asking for the answer. I'm asking whether or not he knows what she heard. The answer is yes or no.
Objection to relevant.
Any further?
All right, we might jump to something spicy here as soon as this one's over today. Another case just beginning. Jury hasn't been brought in yet, but it's already getting some fireworks, so I'll keep an eye on that for you. Detective needs to be done. We've got all the mileage out of him that we can. I think both sides have. This needs to be wrapped up and put a bow on it. Yeah, I think everyone's over this line of questioning. I think the judges as well. It's also near the end of the day. It's 4 o'clock.
You do understand that Kara is a witness as well, correct?
Yes.
And again, you never approached her and interviewed her?
Judge, same objection.
I'm just asking whether he did that. Thank you. And I looked at your entire transcript. Did you ask Jason if there were any other threats that night? Any other threat? Other than the ones that he had related?
I don't recall.
Did you ask him, instead of speculating about the snow, did you ask him where he was going to plow the snow?
He had brought up, as far as the initial where he moved snow, as far as he said he was going to back drag the driveway. I didn't ask him where that snow was going to go, no.
No, but wasn't that a big subject of contention, that the snow was going to go over to Violet's driveway?
That's the initial reason why Violet came out.
And that's a question you never even asked Jason, as to where he was going to plow the snow.
That doesn't necessarily change as far as
Sir,
You can answer.
No, he can't. He's not being responsive.
I'm not arguing. Allow me to answer the question. So if the objection is overruled, you can answer the question.
Answer the question.
Can you ask the question?
The question was, did you ever ask him where the snow was going to go, basically, correct?
Correct.
Yes or no question?
No.
Thank you.
Are we done yet?
Anything further?
Just very briefly.
Why? Now the judge is going to do that frustrated sigh again the jury heard this morning as he was walking by down the hall. Yep, they're gonna come unglued on this one. Defense is a little more animated up there, shaking his head, not happy.
You're welcome. All right, I will add some latitude, counsel. Just I understand. Very short.
Thank you.
Keep it short, like our attention span right now.
Page number concerning, whether Jason Levesque was aware of how many times he discharged the firearm. I'm going to ask you to look at page 54, line 16. Question, that's 15.
So I asked him, okay, do you remember how many times the trigger was pulled? And he responded, yeah, 6 times.
Thank you.
Any specific questions directly?
I will go right to it, Judge. Did you ask him how he knew it was 12?
So I asked him after that, okay, so you fully emptied the clip at that point? And he nodded his head in affirmative.
So he did the math.
I can't answer that question. I don't know what was on his mind.
What was was he holding was it a car?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Shower? What 9mm has 6 or 5 plus 1? It's got to be a single stack car, semi-auto. Because you don't get many 9mm revolvers. I mean, that would be a 6 shot, but it's got a magazine. One that wasn't fully loaded. Yeah, most 9mm, most handguns, not all, but most handguns that shoot 9mm have a magazine that allows you to what's called stagger stack the rounds. So they actually sort of alternate back and forth, and that you can fit more in a shorter space. Mine holds what, 13, but it's a 45.
State, do you have any further witnesses to call?
Your Honor, based on this evidence, the state press.
Okay.
Good job.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you recall back in my initial instructions when I explained to you how a trial was going to go, I explained to you that the state puts on their case first, and when the state is done presenting their evidence, they then rest. So the state has now rested. As I explained to you previously, the defense does not have to put on a case if they do not want to. It's the defense's decision as to whether they will present any evidence at all, because the burden rests on the state to prove the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and the defendant doesn't have to prove anything. Given that it's 4:05 at this point, I think we're going to end for the evening. So we'll leave you in a bit of suspense, and then we'll see in the morning when we come back. That's when the defense will decide whether they are presenting a case or not. Again, as I explained to you, it's completely up to them. It's their choice. And then the case will proceed forward after that, as we explained. So have a good evening. All of my prior instructions remain in place, which I've said multiple times. I'm going to say them again. Do not talk amongst yourselves or with anyone else about this case. Do not do any independent research about this case. Do not view any media coverage about this case. With that, have a good night. Thank you for your attention. Your excused.
All rise. Jury exiting.
All right, we are trying to get.
Well, actually, I have some other things I have to attend to. I'm not sure we can start. I was about to suggest maybe we try to get the arguments in on motion to dismiss earlier than that, but I don't think we can.
I think I brought up the brief letter about
Who's clicking the pen?
Yes, so 10:30. We'll begin with arguments, and then we'll move on to the defense case.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go. Jump. We're gonna jump and we're gonna portal because it's the only way I can keep it clean. The North Dakota versus Nicole Rice has just kicked off, and it got spicy from the get-go. We're probably only going to be able to hear just the beginning spice, but I'm just creating the portal right now. Just 1 second. Let's see. Let me put this in. This is pre-trial motions for day 1. We're starting right now. It'll take just a minute, but sit where you are. Don't go anywhere. We're going to jump to a another trial while we wait for what's happening here, and then we'll be watching 2 trials, which will be fun. Okay, back up. I always love good spice, and this one's already heating up. So, haven't even made a thumbnail yet. So, all right, here we go. Everyone sit right where you are. This trial is done for the day. They're not going to start again until 10 o'clock in the morning, but we do have another trial that's beginning as well. They got a little crazy, and I'm not going to give you the background yet because I don't know all the details. I know it's a roommate issue. It involves murder. That can't be good, right? I'm pretty sure roommates are not supposed to murder each other. That's like one of the most housing agreements is like, do you promise not to murder your roommate? I'm pretty sure it's in there, but we're going to do a quick jump. We'll be over there and watch what happened just moments ago as this trial is about to begin. It has not started yet. Jury's not in yet, so pre-trial motions, heating things up. You guys, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again in moments. With a little bit of spice out of North Dakota. Coming right at you. Portal number 2. More for some of you. Some of you portaled over into us before we portaled for lunch. And now we're going to portal. It might be your 3rd portal today. Or more. We're going right here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We'll just have a different thumbnail. It's already created. You can probably make the jump now if you wanted, but it's more fun to ride with friends. So everyone, hold on tight. We're going to jump through the portal, and we'll see you on the flip side.